The new Dark Tide update is here, and look, I'll get the negative out of the way first because there's actually not that much. First of all, there's matchmaking complications, just general server stuff. Fat Shark didn't expect people to come back and play for some reason. I don't know, this happens with every game these days, so that's not surprising. The other issue is their new tweaked matchmaking system, or at least tweaked since last I was playing. See, now as a low level, when you play on a level 1 character, you have to complete 5 level 1 missions, and then 5 difficulty 2 missions, and then 5 difficulty 3 missions, so on and so forth. You can't just go directly to a difficulty 5 mission and start leveling up your character like that. Now, if you do have a friend around, they can take you into those high level missions, but that will only progress your missions at the same rate. So, let's say you were stuck on the level 1. You have to complete 5 level 1 missions, right? And then you played with your friend on a level 5. You did 3 of those. You came back. You would only have 3 missions down in the level 1 progression tier, for lack of a better term. Are you seeing what I mean here? It's kind of annoying. It's not kind of annoying. It is annoying. I have mixed feelings about it, because as much as this is a bother, you're also not going to be getting under-leveled trolls just ruining your runs, whether it be level 3, 4, 5, once you're a higher rank. However, last I checked, all of the people who would complain about, there's a noob ruining my run. First of all, look, if you're not in an Auric and you're failing, you just kinda suck. And second of all of those people who actually care about that kind of thing were playing Auric or playing Havoc missions. They were playing levels that were locked by hitting level 30 anyway, so there wasn't really a problem, is what I'm saying. Now, I think this was a vast overcorrection. Hopefully it gets knocked down. Maybe you need to complete 2, possibly 3 missions to get past that hurdle, but for the time being, I guess this is just the way it is. Now, other than that, this new class is pretty good, all things considered. I mean, maybe not $12 good for everybody, but pretty good, at least to me. The dog is cool, okay? This whole update is going to be about the dog. You're going to hear me say that time and time again, but I'll get to more on that in a minute. This character feels like a paladin, like a middle ground between Zealot and Oghren. If you are very hyped about your individual contribution to the team, then you should probably play Zealot, or you should probably still play Oghren. If you want to be somewhere in the middle, just generally helping, and you really want a robot dog, once again, that's what this all hinges on. If you want a robot dog or not, then you can go ahead and you would want the Arbites. The weapons are going to be a shock maul and a suppression shield, which has a flashbang secondary, and I'll be honest, it's not really out there doing God's work, but it does enough. It's a defensive enough ability, you can disrupt some stuff with it. You're not going to write home about it saying this is the greatest thing that's ever graced my hands, but it's fine. The Arbites Shock Maul is also kind of in that same category. It's good. I mean, it's not bad by any means, but I'm not going to be writing love letters to the creator. Now, your new weapons will be the Subjugator Shot Pistol and the Riot Shield, so you can actually have 2 shields on both of your slots if you want to be, I don't know, if you want to be like me, if you want to be weird. It feels slightly worse than the revolver, but the revolver is pretty good, so that's actually not all that bad. And then in addition, it's also got a block and shield bash ability. Now, this is my personal favorite addition thus far, apart from the robot dog, of course. The Exterminator shotgun. Now, it has an electric secondary shot, but more importantly than that, it's actually got, it's got a fire pattern, kind of like the, not the Mozambique, the Mastiff from Apex. It actually fires a horizontal bar of pellets, and I really like that, because if you just fire it at head level at a bunch of grunts, it'll just clean them all out. Now, it does have a secondary version. I don't use the secondary version at all, if ever. I used it once, absolutely resented it, never touching it again. The other part of your equipment would be blitzes. There is remote detonation. That is effectively just putting an EMP, explosive, electric, whatever charge on your dog. You get 3 of them, and they have a 1-minute cooldown apiece. Now, that seems underwhelming. Initially, it might seem a bit niche, which it is, but it's better than you think. See, your dogs can actually hop and latch onto things, so they can knock over specialists, they can just maul things to death. But one of the things this comes in super handy with is the fact that they can jump on plague ogrins, chaos beasts, so on and so forth, and you can actually keep triggering these to stagger the thing into oblivion and do a fair bit of damage to it. So if you're making a boss breaker build, this would be very beneficial to you. Otherwise, there is the shock mine, which comes with 2 charges, and it's just a general area denial device. It'll completely freeze everything around, and honestly, it may not be the most effective. I'll be honest, I think the contact grenades that you also get, you get 4 charges, I think those are more effective, but I just love the way that the shock mine looks. So, a big fan of the shock mine. And then, like I said, contact grenade is the second one. Sorry, third one. Your passive perks are going to be part of the squad, which is where your dog becomes an extension of coherency. Ruthless efficiency, which is faster reload speed for everybody around you. Breaking descent, which is additional damage versus staggered enemies for anybody around you. And you will also get an extra series of dog upgrades. So you can either pick whether you would like your dog to target special or ranged enemies in particular. Or you can make sure your dog doesn't exist so you can have a couple minor buffs. That's not worth it. There's no world in which that is worth it. You are playing this character for the dog. If you are going to use the absent dog perk, just play a different character because they've got better stuff going for them anyway. Now we're on to normal abilities. There is Castigator's Stance, which, look, for all intents and purposes, it makes you a poorly constructed wall. You just get some damage resistance, you don't get to sprint anymore, it's not that great. There's also Nuncio Aquila, which, this is your general teamwork buff. It provides general toughness, resistance, and damage buffs in an area of effect, and it lasts for about 20 seconds. There's Break the Line, which, this is your kind of aggressive ability. You'll just shoulder check a whole lot of enemies backwards. Now, your purple perks will be Execution Order, which gives your dog and you damage and toughness buffs for killing or pouncing on marked enemies. This is very good. I use any buffs that will help the dog because, like I said, if you are not playing for the dog, why even bother playing this class? Just be an Ogren with a shield instead. Terminus Warrant will give you melee damage buffs for shooting and ranged damage buffs for stabbing. And they're pretty good buffs on either side. Now, here's the deal, right? I use Execution Order, the dog perk, because I'm down. It's the whole point I'm doing this is Robot Dog. But if you do want to lean a little more into the individual, Terminus Warrant will give you very good back and forth upgrades if you constantly swap your melee and ranged weapon. And then Forceful will turn you into a slightly less shitty wall than Castigator's Stance will. If you combine them, you might equal a full piece of drywall, but I wouldn't recommend it given the other options. So, closing thoughts. The new leveling system feels like ass. The class itself feels fun, but that's just because I wanted a robot dog. If you don't care about getting a robot dog, this class is not worth it for you, don't spend the money. If you didn't like Darktide already, this is not what's going to change your mind, it's still fundamentally the same game. But if you're dropping money on cosmetics all the time anyway, you might as well grab this too, because at least it's something to engage with. That's all I've got. Join the gaming Discord in the description if you want to. The people are mostly playing Space Marine 2 and Darktide in there lately, especially seeing as they're getting big updates right now. Have a good one.